The Steelers, they re-signed safety Minkah Fitzpatrick to a 4-year contract extension worth about $18.4 million per year, nearly $73 million overall, with $36 million guaranteed at signing, and he is now officially the highest paid safety in NFL history. Joe, I'll throw it to you.
Market setting contract. I mean, this really helps out Jesse Bates and the Derwin Jameses of the world.
And it really hurts the Bengals and the Chargers of the world.
And hell, even maybe the Bills, because I'm not sure what Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde's contracts are, but those are two phenomenal players, top 5 at each safety position. I mean, Minkah's a great player. He definitely deserved this. He's, like the second best safety in the league, would you say? I got Derwin number 1 no matter what.
Yeah, probably.
Like so second or third, really depends.
Minkah's the best free safety, at least.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, he definitely deserves the contract. I don't know when Derwin James is up. I don't know when Jesse Bates is up, but I'm pretty sure it's within the next 2 years. So, when those two are free agents, they're going to get more. Maybe not Jesse, but they're going to get... Derwin is for sure getting $20 million a year. I believe so, at least. Jesse will probably get a very similar contract to Minkah, maybe like $1 million or $2 million more. But that's just because the salary cap will go up, and, he did set the market. Kind of like every other position this offseason. Quarterback, you got Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. You got Deshaun Watson. You got Aaron Rodgers. You got whoever else. You got the wide receivers. You got Tyreek Hill, $30 million a year.
Pretty much everybody.
Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore had a good contract. I can't name anyone else right now, but I know there's others. So this is a really good extension for Minkah. Obviously, numbers like that are never good for the team, but you have to do it when it's a player of Minkah Fitzpatrick's caliber.
Yeah, and Steelers fans always cry about the team, like penny pinching and stuff like that. So now it's funny, now when they do this, people are saying like it's too much or whatever. That's like TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and Minkah Fitzpatrick are really the only premium contracts on this team because they have a lot of rookie deals still at play, especially on offense.
Deontay Johnson's coming up, though.
Yeah, he's coming up.
Is he an OTA slash... is he going to OTAs or minicamp?
Not yet. He's not, like, officially, like, holding out, but it's looking like he will.
Okay.
So, I don't know if they're going to get him done just yet. I think they might wait, maybe franchise him, see how this year plays out.
Yeah, Deontay's definitely a player I would rather franchise than give an extension right now. So we've seen a lot of inconsistent play from Deontay in the past. Great player, but I mean, I know you say drops are like however you call it. I'm just gonna fluky, but I mean, he has had dropping issues in the past, and even a little bit better than usual, but better still last season, and still put up over 1,200.
It was around about there. I don't remember
like 1,100, 1,200 yards, with Big Ben at quarterback. So I mean, he definitely will deserve an extension, but I would say, given his past and given his box score numbers good season, because I know the year before that he was really good, like getting open, but just stuff like that.
And yeah, I know a lot of teams are like hesitant to give smaller wide receivers big contracts. I know the Steelers are like the one team who had great results from giving a smaller wide receiver a big contract, but I don't think it's a huge deal, but it is something to keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's stupid, but anyways.
I wanted to just talk a little bit about Minkah to what he's meant to this team, because when he was traded to Pittsburgh in early 2019, how he completely revitalized the Steelers defense, you can't overstate that enough.
You can't put it into words, really.
I will try.
Well, no, because I'm like completely agreeing with you. Like their defense before was a little average, and now it's like top 3.
At first,
5.
When they traded for Minkah, it was 2 games into the 2019 season. The Steelers had gotten blown out by the Patriots, and their defense had gotten torched by Seattle. They were 0-2, and Ben had just been lost for the season. So I was a little against the trade. I wavered back and forth.
What was the trade again?
They gave up a first and I think a couple other picks for Minkah. I thought the Steelers were just going to go in the tank at that point because Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges were their quarterbacks and their defense looked terrible. But from week 3 onwards, they had the best defense in the NFL, mostly because of Minkah. Throughout the entire 2018 season, so the year before they traded for him, Steelers safeties combined forced 2 turnovers. In Minkah's first half of action against the 49ers, he matched that total. He forced 2 turnovers in one half. In the 2 games without Fitzpatrick that year, they gave up 8.9 yards per pass attempt. Without him, 5.6. They went from 30.5 points per game to 18.9, 445 yards per game to 304.1. Obviously, small sample size, but his impact was felt across the season. He became the first Steeler to intercept 4 more passes in a season since Troy Polamalu 9 years earlier in 2010 when he won Defensive Player of the Year. That 9-year drought was the longest without such a player in NFL history. Fitzpatrick also became the first Steelers defender since William Gay to score 2 touchdowns in a season in 2014, and he was the first Steelers safety to do it since Carnell Link in 1996.
It took them 9 years to get more than 4 picks on a player? For a player? My Lord.
Any defensive player, any position.
Jesus. Keep going.
He had a lot of game-changing plays. He almost single-handedly won a couple games by himself against the Colts. He had a 14-point swing with a 96-yard pick six versus the Colts when they were driving, and the Steelers only won that game because the Colts missed a field goal at the end. And he had a 43-yard fumble return score and a 5-point win versus the Rams. That year, the Steelers led the league in takeaways with 38, and that was a huge improvement from the previous year where they only had 15, which
38?
ranked 29th. Yeah.
That's like 2 and like a third a game.
Look at you, little math major.
No.
But he was one of the best instant impact trades in NFL history. He was first team All-Pro that year. He was first team All-Pro in 2020. Last year, his play dipped a little bit, but it was mostly because the rest of the defense around him slipped. A lot of injuries, a lot of players just gone. And so he only had 2 interceptions, but he had 124 tackles, 84 solo tackles, which was 12th in the NFL, and everybody around him were all linebackers. But that's because they had one of the worst run defenses in the league. We saw it in that game against the Vikings, where he was the last line of defense, and he saved so many He had so many touchdown-saving tackles. Hopefully with the addition of Miles Jack, and hopefully with a year under Devin Bush's belt after he's coming back from the injury, hopefully he can return to 2019 and 2020 for him. Because last year he was quite literally the worst linebacker in the NFL. I posted a stat. He ranked 744th out of 744 defensive players in run defense grade from PFF last year. And Joe Schobert and Robert Spillane were not much better. So hopefully with an improved front seven, Minkah won't have to be so physical because he's at his best when he's like a free roaming safety in coverage. But even with all the increased physicality and in the box play from Fitzpatrick last year, he still had a lot of season-saving plays, like against Baltimore in the final regular season game. The Ravens, it was a tie game, and the Ravens were driving with under a minute to go. Tyler Huntley threw a perfect pass on the sideline to Marquise Brown, who had 2 feet down, but Minkah ran across the field to perfectly place a Peanut Tillman-esque punch on the ball to force an incompletion. And had it been completed, the Ravens would have had the ball at the Steelers' 48-yard line with 25 seconds and 2 timeouts left. They likely would have won the game right there instead of going to overtime where the Steelers won, and the Steelers would have missed the playoffs and the Ravens would have been in. The year before, Trey Norwood had a game-sealing pick on Baker Mayfield, but it was caused by Minkah running into Austin Hooper's arms, causing the ball to pop up in the air. Against the Titans, he had 14 tackles, which was the most by any Steelers defensive back since Bryant McFadden in 2010. I know you love all these stats. But a lot of this is the last one for Minkah. It was last year for Minkah Fitzpatrick was the perfect example of how first impressions can last. From weeks 1 to 3 last year, he had a PFF grade of 29.2, which was worst among 65 safeties. But from week 4 through the Super Bowl, he had a 71.2 grade, which was middle of the pack. And from weeks 1 to 2, he gave up a 158.3 passer rating when he was targeted. Perfect passer rating. And from weeks 3 to 18, it was 38.3. So over a 100-point difference. And that's mostly because they were using him in the slot a lot early on in the season, and they put him in more of his natural role. So I think in 2022, with him in more of his natural role with health and improvement across the board on the defense, we'll see more of his 2019-20 form. Back to you, Joe.
One thing I just want to say about Minkah. So, as everyone knows, my second favorite team is the Miami Dolphins. When I saw that they traded him in week 3 of that year, I was livid. I was like, why? What did he... It's his second year, right? Yeah, second year?
Yeah, that was his second year.
They traded your first-round pick the year prior in the second year for a first-round pick, amongst other things. But still, it's like, I don't know what they got with that pick, but my God, was it definitely not anywhere near Minkah Fitzpatrick. Why should it have been like Austin Jackson?
I think it was.
Oh, my God. Dude, No, one was worse than that when the Dolphins drafted Charles Harris over T.J. Watt. I have a video, and I'm like, who? I was like, T.J. Watt, Reuben Foster. Who else was available at the time? There was someone else.
Charles Harris. I can't think straight.
I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so screw the Dolphins for that. Hey, but they're going to be good this year, so whatever. Hopefully the Pats are better, but...